Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Charlie Stone again, and Andy Goodyear with Honda of Lincoln will be joining me to talk about the Honda Spring event. Andy, I know this is a big event for you. Please tell us all about it.
I want to start out by thanking the Lincoln car buyers for an incredible year in 2025. It's just been announced that Honda of Lincoln is Nebraska's only Honda dealer to earn the prestigious Honda President's Award for 2025.
Wow, that's great, Andy. How many times now have you earned that President's Award?
It's a total of 20 times now, Charlie. The Honda Spring event is truly a big event for us. We have incredible savings on every remaining 2025 and every new 2026. Special low rates, long-term financing, and special lease rates.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And wow, what a great spring it has been here. We've had record sales happening at Koppel. And to show our appreciation, Koppel is giving out employee pricing on select new models. Yes, you heard that right. Employee pricing is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. So please stop on in the store and see the team or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Some rebates to dealer.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney location. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Is your air conditioner ready for the hot weather ahead? Get it checked now before you really need it. Call Bryant now to schedule your spring air conditioning service check. No matter what brand equipment you have, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean, inspect, and test to make sure it's ready to cool efficiently when hot weather hits. Stay cool and comfortable with air conditioning services from Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111 to schedule your AC check. Bryant, whatever it takes.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see partly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and warm. An afternoon high near 85. Tonight, mainly clear skies, continued breeze, a low around 54. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with a light breeze and a high, again, near 85. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Monday. It's a special here, 92.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Husker Diamond Report. You may have, don't blink, it's not Saturday at 11 o'clock to noon, but that's the usual time we're here. Nick Wyman, Tristan Gomez here on a Monday for the second consecutive time to start your week after following old school with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. So if you are not familiar with Tristan or myself, you'll see us from time to time. But the Husker Diamond Report, we'll cover everything Husker baseball, Husker softball. You can catch us every Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon Central Time, right after after Todd Euler with the Power Hour and right before Ray Alico First Serve Live. But Tristan, how are you doing? It's not deja vu, but we're back here on a Monday. And how are you doing so far this week?
Doing really well, and a beautiful day to start out the week. I didn't go outside.
Today was working from home and then finally went outside and was like, wow, it is a toasty one. So not going to stay like this the whole week, but nice that we're starting to get some warmer weather here.
Yeah, I mean, we were here on Saturday, and I don't think there was much sunshine, and it's been cold. It's been rainy as well. There's been chance of storms, but the weather cleared up in Eugene for Nebraska baseball. Obviously, we had a little bit of delay. We talked about that on Friday and how Nebraska lost that one in a one-run ball game, but kind of wiped the slate clean after 2 tough losses, one to Kansas, one to Oregon. Get a win on Saturday to avoid a sweep in the end game with a loss on Sunday to the Ducks. But I mean, hey, you lose lose 3 out of 4 games down the stretch. Everybody talked about how this was a big week for Nebraska baseball, trying to solidify themselves as a team who's going to be probably hosting a regional. And Nebraska baseball didn't get that. More than likely out the window, I would say. You're looking at maybe the 2 seed at a highest now. Obviously, a lot of season to be played. You'd have to win a majority of those games down the stretch here in mid-April. But you're still in a really good position, especially in conference play, where you're still up there in that top rank. But obviously, a little disappointing you losing, 2 of 3 to Oregon, who is a really good baseball team. Was in the top 25, but now we're going to move up. Nebraska was above them, but now Nebraska falls out of the ranking after a 1-3 week.
Yeah, I think Nebraska was just in a tough position to start with. I mean, we talked about it before. They were one of those teams that has had a lot of success. They were 18-2 in March and played some decent opponents and won some solid games. But they're just one of those schools that, you can't just go based off the record. Being Nebraska baseball, we've seen it for years and years of how good some of these teams really have been. And it seems it always ends up being a 2 seed in a regional. And I think this was a weekend for Nebraska where they had an opportunity to really solidify themselves, possibly with a big, series win. And here, you're ranked at 18, 19, according to some different segments, but you get to that 16 spot, which is where you're hosting. And then you go into Creighton and then you go into USC. But I think now after this weekend, and it was huge for them on Saturday to bounce back. I think after that Friday night game, that was a little odd with the hour and 42-minute rain delay. Ty Horn didn't have his best stuff. And, from my experience playing Oregon, they're one of those schools that they're just going to hit. They have some decent pitchers every so often, but out of the Ducks, you're going to see a lot of hitting. And I think Nebraska combated that really well. And so talking about that Saturday game where they, did find a way to even up the series, they started down in that one. They go all the way down to 5-0. And then it just seemed like the offense and the guys that we expect, the guys that we talk about going into the season really bounced back with Sanderson, Carey, Overbeek. They all homer in that 4th inning. And so I think after a weekend like that, we'll touch on these games, but after a weekend like that, I think, Nebraska's thought process is, all right, let's not get too ahead of yourselves or look at the rankings anymore. There's no reason to do that. Let's just get back to playing the baseball we were playing when we were, winning a lot of games.
And yeah, like you mentioned, they kind of dug themselves into a hole. And, looking at that game, you go down, multiple runs. It's, oh, here we go again. Is this going to be one of those weekends where Nebraska is just, the other sides of these ball games? But they battled all the way back. And to do that, I mean, that shows just how competitive Nebraska baseball can be. Was it pretty at all times? I mean, you even look back at when they played Maine. They play a team like Maine, and it wasn't pretty at all throughout them. Obviously, a little bit more of an opponent than Oregon. But Nebraska's been able to show signs of like life even when things are not going the right way. Like you go down early, you're able to chip away, and Oregon's pitchers are rolling. We mentioned how Oregon's starting pitchers all have under 3 ERAs coming into the series, and hey, that really caught my eye when I first looked at the probable pitching matchups Thursday night when that came out. But when you're able to kind of dance out of danger and able to, win those games and not, go down 5-0 thing. Because, I mean, you've probably been in games like that where you're down 6-0 after 3 innings and it's like, man, nothing's going right for us. This is just not our day. I mean, how do you refocus in games like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is just going back to taking it just one pitch at a time, one play at a time. And I think this is a Nebraska team that is very mature. They have a lot of guys that have played a lot of college baseball, especially at the University of Nebraska. And so I think when they went down 5-0 and Yasa didn't have his best stuff, he only goes 3 2/3, gives up, 5 runs, walks a few guys. So at that time, Oregon just has all of the momentum. And I think it's one of those times where you kind of just talk to the guys in the dugout. And we would always have just, player-led, offensive meetings when we're in a game like this and just say like, all right, let's relax. Let's get back to our approach. What are we trying to do? Where are we attacking? Are we looking middle away? And then it's just one pitch at a time. You believe in the guy in front of you. You believe in the guy that's hitting after you. And you just slowly start to put some at-bats together. And then, I mean, like in that 4th inning for Nebraska, it was just guys were taking it one pitch at a time. Like I said, Sanderson, Carey, Overbeek, all with home runs. They knocked the lead back down. They're down 5-4. And then they go all the way through the order. And by the end of the 4th inning, they're up 6-5. And so I think that was just where we saw Nebraska that they can, be in deficits and they can claw their way back. They're a team that can hit with anyone in the country. I believe it's just going to have to come down to the pitching staff matching up with that offense.
Yeah, that big inning you mentioned, sending 11 batters to the plate, scoring 6 runs on 8 hits. There were walks and everything, but 8 hits in an inning is a lot in baseball. Case Sanderson continuing to swing a hot bat. I saw a meme on social media where he's got the bat. Obviously, like it's the Savannah Bananas with the bat says on fire. That's kind of been him this past weekend. At Nebraska added a pair of unearned runs in the 5th to extend their lead. Jet Buck hit by a pitch, came around the score on another error, a sacrifice bunt attempt. Nebraska kind of did all the little things there as well to kind of, obviously you want to swing the bat and you want to find gaps. But if you're benefiting off errors, bunting, laying down bunts, moving guys over, being a team player, I think that goes a long way. Because obviously you have an inning where you have 8 hits, you score multiple runs, but then you also have an inning where, you're just doing the little things and doing everything. It's not just, hitting balls in the gaps and everybody's swinging the bat hard. You have guys kind of knowing their role on the teams because not everybody's going to hit the long ball. You got guys who can lay down bunts and be able to do that. And this is a game where, you have no momentum, like we mentioned. There's no momentum on your side. You're down. You're trying to, just win a game. Because at this rate, you obviously lost a heartbreaker the night before. You had a rain delay in there. A little bit of tensions as well. We'll get into that as well. That was kind of a topic of the weekend on social media. But Case Sanderson, the way he's been playing, leading the team throughout 2 home runs, on Saturday. Without him, I don't know where this team goes, especially this past weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you kind of expect out of these guys is you play college baseball for these moments, especially when you're playing good teams and you put the work in the middle and before the season, and then you get into the season, you make some tweaks. And Case Anderson has been a guy that has been so impressive. I feel like he's been dominating kind of that 3-4 role in the lineup and just knows what his role is. And his job is to, hit balls into gaps, hit the ball over the fence, get some RBIs. And he did exactly that. And just looking at, how the runs kind of played out in this high scoring affair, Oregon is a hitter's ballpark. It's funny. A few years ago, the fences were way deeper. They were about 10 feet back. And then they started to get upset that it was kind of a pitcher's ballpark, and especially when it's raining and you're just like, this isn't a fun game to play. I think Oregon wanted to get some more home runs. And they also, I think for just recruiting tactic, they wanted to get a few more guys that could hit the long ball and be more intrigued to show up at Oregon. And every time we played them, there was plenty of home runs, and it was no different in this Saturday game. And once again, very impressive from Jay-Sean Unger. Yasta doesn't have his best stuff. Caleb Clark comes in. He gives up another run. And then it just seemed, they brought in multiple guys, Hara Hill, Worley, and then Unger comes in. He goes 2 innings, gives up 1 run, but he's been a guy that just seems like when the going gets tough, he gets tougher and found a way to allow his offense to get back into this one. And then Jay-Sean Unger came in to close the door and secure that win to even up the series.
Yeah, Jay-Sean Unger, the way he's been able to just kind of solidify himself as a, regardless of the situation, you're up by 1 run, you're up by a couple, 3 runs going for a save. He's able to just close it out. And he's been in some tough situations, not just on Saturday, but he's also throughout the last couple of saves he's recorded. But then you kind of turn the page to Sunday. Even up the series, Nebraska baseball, obviously losing a game on the weekday to Kansas. We talked about that on Saturday. And then you obviously end up then dropping game 1 of the series in a game where it's a little funky. You get the rain delay, you get the off the field kind of talk, talking between teams and all that jazz. But then this game, Cooper Katsky comes in, he gives up 4 earned runs in that one. And then the bullpen just wasn't able to kind of do what they were supposed to do. Obviously, Clevenger, Blackowitz and Tucker Timmerman pitching the ball on the mound out of the bullpen. And it was just kind of, all hounds by committee. Gavin obviously walked 3 batters in that inning. Also had 4 strikeouts, but he also, 2 wild pitches in there as well. It wasn't the most clean game from him, and that just kind of allowed Oregon to kind of take control. Nebraska held a nice little 2-run lead, but then that 6th inning kind of got away from them. That's kind of what did them in. Nebraska ends up with 4 runs on 8 hits and no errors. Clean game defensively in the error standpoint, but obviously wild pitches and walks will come back to bite you as Oregon picked up the win in the series finale with 5 runs, 7 hits, and an error to their credit. So Nebraska ends the week with 3 losses. But you look at the runs, like you lose a 2-run game on the midweek against Kansas. You lose Friday by 1 run, and then you lose 1 run on Sunday. So I wouldn't say like end all be all with this series. You still have plenty of opportunities, but at least you didn't get like run ruled. Like a couple of teams Nebraska's played where they've just dominated from this jump. You're in it throughout. Just 1 inning kind of gets away from you, and that's just baseball. 1 inning could end in a loss and cause a loss. So at the end of the day, you still played hard throughout the 4 games you had this entire week.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in that Sunday games, we always talk about Sunday games just being, who's going to be tougher, because it's one of those where you're a little exhausted from the 2 games the previous days. This one's an earlier one in the day. Typically, if you're the away team, you're obviously sleeping in a hotel, but then you got to get up early, and your main focus is literally you can show up to the field, you're taking BP, you're taking IO, you're playing, and then you're getting on a plane and you're headed home. So it's one of those games that you really got to show your grit and show your resilience. And yeah, in this one, Katsuki was, pitching pretty well. Throughout this one, gave up 2 runs in that second inning. And, towards the end of that one, he gets into that 6th inning, and that's where things kind of fell apart. He gets a few walks, ends up with 4 earned runs. And I think for Nebraska, their takeaway from this weekend is they know, like you said, they're, losing really close ball games to really good teams, to ranked opponents. And it's just, going down the stretch of this Big Ten season and then getting into the tournament. And then especially when you get into a regional, you got to have the starting pitchers go a little bit deeper. And I think it's important that you give them confidence to do that, though. You don't put pressure on them. You just say, take it one batter at a time. One thing that our coaches at Portland always talks about is a lot of times when our starters would struggle, it was because they'd go into it thinking that they had to, be perfect for 6 innings. Instead of just taking it one pitch at a time. You get through 1 inning. You're focused on the batter that is in the box that's at hand, and you just do as much as you can there. Because if you're facing a batter and it's getting deep into a count and you're thinking about, how am I going to, with my pitch count, how am I going to go 2 more innings after this? You're not going to get there. So it's important, I think, for this pitching staff, especially the starting rotation, is just look back at the weekend. What could we do better? And then just find a way to, try to minimize the pitches that you're throwing and minimize missing spots, because that's where a good offense like Oregon is going to do. And then on an offensive standpoint, I think you leave this series very happy. If I'm Case Sanderson, I'm extremely happy. He has another home run on Sunday as well. And so this is a confidence builder. And, we can compete on the road with the best teams in this conference. And, you go into a midweek tomorrow and you just clean slate and get ready for that one.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the bats, Case Anderson homered in the first and on Sunday as well. Blazing hot bat for him. Jeter Worley had 2 hits in the afternoon game on Sunday as well, 2 for 5. He had a double and 2 ribbies. Rhett Stokes has kind of come on throughout the last couple of games. Like I mentioned, Drew Grego a couple weeks ago was, in some timely hits in the bottom of the order, playing outfield for Nebraska. Mac Moyer, Will Jeske recorded a hit each on Sunday as well. Everything kind of coming together. And like you mentioned, you're playing a really quality opponent. Like Nebraska obviously lost 2 of 3 to Oregon. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts there, but you played probably one of the top 3 teams in the conference. And Nebraska is still in that conversation because 2 losses aren't going to put an end to your season. Obviously, the Kansas loss is a little deflating. Maybe that played a little bit of a role. I'm curious where their mindset was going to that Oregon game, because obviously tensions were pretty high on both sides throughout. Obviously, there was the little bullet coming out to grab his guy's stuff, and the umpire thought he was coming out to argue, but had the fake out ejection. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No, that was wild.
Then you have, sliding into second base, obviously a little bit. When you're sliding to second base, there's obviously, sometimes contact happens, but who knows what was said in between, between the dugouts and all that there too. Obviously, game was on BTN Plus, and, we weren't there in Eugene for see it all, end all, be all in person, but tensions were high. Nebraska, I think you just flush it, you move on, because this next week you have another opportunity for you get the game against Creighton, a rematch. Obviously, Creighton's coming out for blood. They lost a game where they really had a good chance. Obviously, if the wind blew a little bit more, maybe that ball gets over Mac Moyer's glove and Creighton can potentially tie the game, maybe walk it off. They had some opportunities in that game as well where Jayshon Unger buckled down and was able to help Nebraska win. And then you have USC, where USC is a top 20 team, and they're having one of the best years in their program's history. I don't know when the last time they made a regional was, USC, but usually when they were in the Pac-12, it was usually Arizona, Stanford, UCLA, Oregon. They were kind of a little brother to some of those teams. So they're going to be motivated because they're, trying to show that this isn't just a one-trick pony, and they're an actually legit Big Ten conference baseball team. Because this year you have Nebraska, UCLA, Oregon, and USC. It's a 4-headed horse race between those teams. And I'm excited to see where Nebraska can go with not only Creighton, but also those 3 games against the Trojans.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a week, like you said, that you just kind of got to go into it with a clean slate, especially when you know that you're playing a Creighton team that is going to play hard. And especially after Nebraska defeated them that first time, Creighton's going to want some revenge. They're going to come in with vengeance, and they're going to take this game extremely seriously. And so as much as you want to focus on playing USC and you want to get back into Big Ten play and flush that Oregon series, you got to take care of business against Creighton. And Like we keep touching on it, is how tough this part in the schedule really was. Because, I mean, Kansas, after this past week, and they move up to 18th in the rankings. And so they had a really good week with the win against Nebraska and then a good weekend series win. And so after that, this Kansas team that they lost to is another good team. So if you're Nebraska, you're just thinking to yourself, all right, we're playing good teams. We're playing close games. Let's focus on the next one that's at hand, which going into Creighton, and just keep one hitting. And then for the pitching staff, go in there with something to prove that this is a pitching staff that can find ways to win these close ball games. Focus on that one and then get on to USC. And I think in this time, it's just for Nebraska, don't put too much pressure on yourself, but find a way to just, slow the bleeding, slow the momentum that, other teams are having against you right now, and find a way to, play some chippy games and win these ones.
So a little fun fact about this USC series. I Googled real quick. USC, they were a prominent College World Series champion, in the 60s. They won it in 61, 63, 68. They won in 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 78, and 1998. Regional champions, the last time they did that was 2005. College World Series last appearance was 2001. NCAA, their last appearance 2025. Before that was 2015. They have a Nebraska tie to their legacy of their program.
Ted Silva.
Well, no, they have Sam Crawford. You know who Sam Crawford? You know who Sam Crawford is?
I do not.
Okay, I'm pulling a little history here. So Sam Crawford was born in Wahoo, Nebraska. So if you've ever been to Wahoo's baseball field, it's Sam Crawford Field. So because he's from Wahoo, he's a long time Major League Baseball player. He played with the Detroit Tigers majority of his career. Back in, when did he play? He plays from Wahoo. He died in 1968. He played Major League Baseball with the Reds and the Tigers in the 1899 was his first time he played. In 1902, he played way back when.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so, that was a long
time ago. But that was his, after he retired from the major leagues, he lived in California and he became the head coach in 1924. So he was kind of a trailblazer to their program. So I just know because I've been out to Wahoo's field before and I always saw the Sam Crawford. They have like a memorial and I was like, oh, this is interesting because I don't, he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and he obviously was a part of Major League Baseball history, part of manager this tour, and they have a lot of ties as well, as you mentioned. Like they are a very historic program years ago, but in recent memory they haven't really made a trip to Omaha in almost 25 years for the College World Series, but they also were very successful in the 60s and the 70s. But that's an interesting tie. I didn't I knew he was from Wahoo. When I saw that when I looked it up, I was like, oh, that's the guy who I've seen the Wahoo field. So he has a little bit of a tie to USC. So who would have known? That's what a quick Google search does for you. But yeah, they're a team that is having a historic season because they obviously have been there and done that back in, so many years ago. But they have something to prove because Nebraska and USC, more than likely, Nebraska is trying to get back in that top 25 rankings. And USC is a team who's, I believe they're still in the top 25. They're still up there, and they're going to be a tough opponent. And them coming to Lincoln, hopefully the weather's like this. It could be a really enjoyable weekend for, Nebraska and USC watching that kind of baseball play out here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the best time of weather. I think of just the times growing up when we get into April and we have nice sunny days like this, and all you want to do is go to Haymarket. And having a dad who played at Nebraska, he always wanted to get back. And then, my brother was here, and so I always went to watch his games during his time. And yeah, it's Haymarket is one of the best places to play baseball. And I was talking to Garrett Anglim, former Husker, and he was talking about, he's like, you don't understand. Like, he thought when he got to college and got to Nebraska that like all college baseball stadiums were like this. And then he said he played across the Big Ten, and he was like, no, nothing compares to Haymarket. Like, Haymarket is the best stadium, best environment in the Big Ten easily. And it's just an unbelievable place to watch baseball. And so I think this is going to be a great weekend for Husker fans to show up and show out. And so I'm looking forward to that. But first, you got to take care of business against the team down I-81st. And I think the Huskers know that one, especially coming off this weekend. They're going to have a little bad taste in their mouth, and they're going to want to beat up the little brother again. So hopefully that's the mindset that they have in that locker room, and I'm expecting it tomorrow.
Yeah, the second of 3 meetings with the Blue Jays. That one, first pitch, 6 o'clock tomorrow between the in-state rivals Creighton and Nebraska down at Hawksfield Haymarket Park. And then after that, Friday, 6 o'clock as well against number 12 USC. Saturday, 2 o'clock first pitch against the Trojans, and to cap off that 3-game series with USC, a noon Central Time pitch at Haymarket Park. So 4 opportunities to go watch some quality baseball, but 4 opportunities to go spend a day with the Cornhuskers baseball program. On the other side, we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about Nebraska softball. Continuing the win, shut out Wisconsin twice, and then a 10-run win on Sunday. Just keep winning. They're up to number 3 in the D1 softball rankings. We'll talk about that and more on the other side. Nick Wyman, Tristan Gomez, Husker Diamond Report, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And wow, what a great spring it has been here. We've had record sales happening at Koppel. And to show our appreciation, Koppel is giving out employee pricing on select new models. Yes, you heard that right. Employee pricing is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. So please stop on in the store and see the team or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Some rebates to dealer.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see probably sunny skies. It'll be breezy and warm. An afternoon high near 85. Tonight, mainly clear skies, continued breeze, the low around 54. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with a light breeze and a high, again, near 85. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings, thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Have you been looking for home technology upgrades but don't know where to turn? Online information can be contradicting and confusing. Lincoln's own experts at Diode Technologies can turn your living room into the place to watch your favorite sports. Whatever your vision is, Diode Tech is ready to make it a reality. From home theaters to outdoor entertainment spaces, they bring you along through the entire process to make sure you get exactly what you want. If you're ready to upgrade your entertainment space, visit Diode Tech online at diodetech.net or give them a call at 402-793-5124.
Is your air conditioner ready for the hot weather ahead? Get it checked now before you really need it. Call Bryant now to schedule your spring air conditioning service check. No matter what brand equipment you have, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean, inspect, and test to make sure it's ready to cool efficiently when hot weather hits. Stay cool and comfortable with air conditioning services from Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111 to schedule your AC check. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Spring is here, and it's time to wake up Judson. Judson Irrigation is eager and ready to get your sprinkler system up and running for the season. Judson's technicians will check for winter damage, adjust your sprinkler heads, and show you how to set your controller for effective sprinkling coverage. The Judson Irrigation team is here for you. Stay safe.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Husker Diamond Report, 92.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Nick Wyman and Tristan Gomez holding it down for the next half hour before I turn it over to Ridge Lovett and Caleb Smith. We're all in. And then continuing our weeknight slate on this Monday, beautiful Monday in the capital city of Lincoln, Nebraska. But once again, this is Husker Diamond Report. Usually you can catch us Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon Central Time every Saturday right here on 93.7 The Ticket. Recapping Husker baseball, Husker softball, and everything in between as their seasons continue to progress into mid-April. But Nebraska softball, we mentioned all they do is win, win, win no matter what, and they continue to sweep teams. 4th time they've swept a Big Ten opponent, beating the Wisconsin Badgers in 3 games over the weekend. And Alexis Jensen doing it all over again. I feel like every other week, rinse and repeat. We could play this episode, and you could say, which weekend was this from, Tristan? And every weekend it's her just throwing strikes. Big Ten Freshman of the Week once again. Nebraska softball just continues to win. Right now they moved it to number 3 in the polls, and it's funny because if you look at the top 5, you have Oklahoma number 1, rightfully so. They've been good for several years. You have Alabama, SEC team in there. You have Nebraska, who's number 3. Number 4 is Texas Tech, who Nebraska has a win over. Then you have Arkansas, and then number 6 is UCLA, who Nebraska just played a couple weeks ago. So Texas is in there too. Nebraska beat them. They're at number 8. Tennessee, a team who Nebraska lost to early in the season, number 9, and Virginia Tech wrapping out the top 10. But you have a very interesting top 25 teams Nebraska has beaten or have played against throughout the regular season. Now we're kind of at the home stretch of the regular season. I mean, you talked about this last weekend. We'll get into that real quick, and we'll dive into the rest of the schedule. Nebraska softball, 5-0 win on Friday, a 6-0 win on Saturday. I was sitting here after that and was like, are they really going to shut them out in all 3 games? Like, how hard is that to do? And then a 12-5 inning game. Nebraska gets a quick trip back from Madison, Wisconsin with a 3-game sweep. Get the brooms out once again. Just continue to win. I mean, they put themselves in a very good position now. Number 3 in the nation. More than likely going to be hosting a regional and then maybe a super regional after that. More than likely.
Yeah, absolutely. They took care of business. I think last week when we talked, especially even on Saturday, we watched the game on Friday night where they just seemed to take care of business. Alexis Jensen, like you said, unbelievable again on Friday night. 7 innings, just 2 hits allowed, no walks, and 3 strikeouts. So she was just unbelievable in that one. And I think that's what we can continue to expect out of her. And then, it's the best thing about this Nebraska team, and we touch on it every single time we're here, is then you go on to Saturday. And if you're a Wisconsin team, you just faced Alexis Jensen and you go, oh, Alexis Jensen's not starting today. We probably have a better chance. Absolutely not. Jordy Fromm on Saturday, unbelievable once again. She goes 7 innings, 5 strikeouts, 0 walks. She also just gives up 2 hits, and you get the shutout. And so in a game where offense was hard to come by until that 4th inning for Nebraska, you have 2 pitchers that are arguably, top 5 in the country. And both of them unbelievable. And that Saturday one came down to that 6th inning or that 4th inning where they put up that 6th spot. And that's all they needed, especially with this pitching staff. So this is a team that knows that this part of their schedule is more favorable towards them. And so when you head up to, Wisconsin, we almost talked about some of these series as a trap series or a trap game where you can almost let off the brake or let off the gas a little bit. And Nebraska didn't do that whatsoever. Dominant all weekend long, just giving up 2 runs on the weekend, 2 shutouts, just unbelievable.
4th inning you mentioned on Saturday, Ava Kuzak led off that inning with the double down the left field line. And then Jesse Farrell picked her up with a base knock, continuing to exit and followed them with a 2-run blast. So not only doing it in the circle, but also at the plate hitting. Caitlin Canada scored on a Hannah Core single. Kamazan singled into Core, and Nebraska led 6-0 from there, which maintained that lead throughout the rest. 11 shutout wins so far for Nebraska softball. So, I mean, that's a third of their wins so far this year have been in shutouts. That is very tough to do. Continuing to win games in Big Ten play, 14-1 overall in conference play. Best start to Big Ten play since 2022, which is just a couple of years ago. Winning road games, it's just really hard to see a couple more losses. And this was probably one of the tougher games. We looked at the big picture for the rest of the season. Nebraska softball obviously wins a sweep here in Madison. They have Minnesota, Omaha midweek, Iowa 3-game set, and then a Penn State series to cap off the year. The home stretch of the season is here. Nebraska softball, I mean, this was the hardest series left, and yet Nebraska made it look pretty simple throughout, which is wild to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we touched on it that just looking at the rest of their Big Ten opponents, as Wisconsin was the one on the schedule, that this was a team on the road that could be a tougher one. And yeah, like you said, Nebraska just handled it very well. After this weekend, the team ERA is now 2.02. So we're getting closer and closer to getting that just to under 2, which is absolutely tremendous. And then, yeah, it was the offense as well. On Sunday, you don't put up 12 runs on 10 hits for nothing. Like, they were hitting the ball all over the place. Jordy with the home run, Ava Kuzak with a home run on Sunday. So they continue to do it. And it seems like this is a team that's so well-rounded. And what you like to see, we've seen teams in the past in college softball that maybe just have one of the best pitchers in the country or the best pitcher in the country, and they're winning games just, 1-0, 2-0. This is a team that has the potential to score a lot of runs, and a lineup that I think everyone just fits their role so well and sets them up for success. And yeah, I think that's the perfect way to end a weekend on the road and head back home, is you just start off hot with the 2 runs in the first. And they just handled business. They go up 4, they then go up 5. Like, they were in control this entire game. When Wisconsin finally does get 1 back, they put up a 7 spot. And so this is a team that just can flat out hit.
14-1 in Big Ten play. And then you mentioned the two-headed monster, Jordy Fromm and Alexis Jensen, not only in the circle, but also at the plate. This weekend, you combine their stats: 6 runs on 9 hits, 8 extra base hits, 8 RBI, and they batted .428 at the plate together. That's just 2 players of the 9 who hit really well this weekend. In the circle, they only allowed 2 runs, 7 hits, and their opponents hit 111. 111 over a course of 3 days. That sounds like my Kansas City Royals right now. Their batting average as a team at sometimes with runners in scoring position. But they dominated. Fromm hit her 2nd grand slam of the season. I mentioned those 2, obviously, because what they're doing in the circle, but also at the plate. But Ava Kuzak, 4 RBI and 2 homers were both season highs for her. She got off to a slump we saw in some of those first couple games in February, and she's starting to come around and be the Ava Kuzak we all kind of thought she'd be to this team. So when you have her on board, you have Alexis Jensen getting career high in doubles. You have Jordy Fromm continuing to swing a hot bat, and kind of everybody else just kind of playing their role. I mean, this team just looks unstoppable at this point, especially this past weekend in Madison.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jordy Fromm and Ava Kuzak were mid-season player of the year on the watch list, and both well-deserving. I think Ava Kuzak, I mean, she does it on the defensive well and as well. But then, yeah, and she seems like she's just getting hotter and hotter with the bat and hitting .317 right now, and she has just been absolutely dominating. And then Jordy Fromm, I think we can't talk about her enough, especially in that leadoff spot. She does an unbelievable job of just firing the momentum right away. I think that's exactly what you want in your leadoff spot, is someone who, she's not going to steal as many bases as, your prototypical Division I softball hitter is going to, but she's going to put ball in gaps. We've seen her hit solo home runs to start off games and just give Nebraska all the momentum. And Nebraska's just been a road warrior team this entire season. They are 10-1 in true road games so far this season. And so it doesn't matter if they're at Bolin or they're on the road in Madison and now going to head up to Minnesota. This is a team that just plays with confidence no matter who's in the other dugout or where they're at.
I mean, Jordy Fromm, like what she does, not only on offense and defense, but leadership role. Like, she has played a lot of college softball, like whether it be in Lincoln or whether it be down with the Oklahoma Sooners. She's played in some really high quality games, whether it be like I said, playing for the Sooners or playing for the Huskers. I wonder how big of a leadership role she has, because obviously, like, she gets hurt that one year, and that obviously derails things, because that was a year in Nebraska. She comes home to Nebraska, and everybody had very high hopes, and kind of goes up in flames that start the season, and that really was kind of a damper on a season, kind of a cloud that kind of hovered over Nebraska softball for, that season, but then comes back and it just as dominant. And then you have Alexis Jensen, the pair with her. I'm just curious where she comes from, obviously with a leadership standpoint, because like Alexis Jensen, like, obviously plays with no fear. I wonder how much Jordy rubs off on her, whether she's at the plate or rather in the mound as well.
Yeah, I mean, just talking with Jordy a few times, she is just an unbelievable character and is just a servant. I mean, she always wants to get the best out of people. She wants to help people any way that she can, and she's one of those just perfect people. I think back to my time of being a freshman at Fullerton, and Tanner Bybee, who's now with the Cleveland Guardians. He was a senior at that time, and he got drafted following that season. But he was just a guy that if you needed anything, like you just reached out to him, you asked him just like, hey, I'm struggling just like balancing classes, or what are some things that, I can help me stand out a little bit? Or, he was on the pitching side, so he would see me hit BP or just, face me. And I'd be like, where are the holes in my swing? And just guys like that make you better, guys that have been there, people that have, seen a lot more of whatever sport it is. Having those people around you just helps tremendously. And, I was talking to Jordy about that injury that she had, and she just said that was the time, I think, where her leadership role stepped up, because for so long she was doing it on the field. It was just, the action that she had. It was the results that she, had on the mound when she was at Oklahoma. And that's what people saw of her. And then she was like, I want to figure out how I can be the best teammate possible, get the best out of my teammates. And so when she was injured, she just found a way to create those conversations, to be someone that her teammates can look up to, even when she's not out there on the field. And then we saw last year when she comes back, just how tremendous she was, and just hasn't skipped a beat going into this season. But for Alexis Jensen, it has to be so nice. We already knew how just unbelievable she was going in as a freshman. But Jordy is just a great person to look up to and ask questions. And just whenever you're struggling or even when you're doing well, she's someone that's going to be there for you.
And Alexis Jensen, Big Ten Freshman of the Week after her performance this weekend, totaled a .64 ERA, struck out 13 batters while only walking 4 across 11 strong frames. Opponents batted .083 against her during the series, allowed only 3 hits. Offensively, she hit .333, 3 hits, all of which came 4 extra base hits, had 2 doubles on Sunday's win over the Badgers. She added 3 ribbies and batted .889 with the slugging percentage. Jensen's first Big Ten Freshman of the Week honor. She was Big Ten Freshman Pitcher of the Week back in mid-March. So you have her to lean on. You have Jordy Fromm. When you're not giving up runs, you're not giving up hits, you're winning a lot of ball games. In Nebraska softball, only one. I mean, I was talking to Todd Euler on Saturday, and he was like, I want to get out to a game. You only have 3 more opportunities at this moment in regular season play, being April 26th, 25th, and 26th against Iowa. You have those games, but Nebraska softball, the Road Warriors now, they got, obviously, you have the game in Omaha, neutral side, I should say. It will probably end up being a very Nebraska-heavy crowd against Omaha on April 21st. But this next weekend, you got Minnesota, a team who's kind of like Wisconsin. They're kind of hovering around that range. They are playing them on Friday, April 17th through the 19th up in Minneapolis. So, I wouldn't expect anything less than 3 wins up there. This is the way they're handling business and moving on to the next. What's next for this team, and just continuing to win.
Yeah, I think going into Minnesota, it's the same thing. You touched on it again, just Road Warriors, and you just take care of business. And this is the fun part in the season, is when you are just riding high, you're feeling confident. You're facing teams that are, good opponents, but also you just know going in there, like, we are so confident whoever's in that other dugout, we're going to beat them. And so I think going into this series, and we touched on how, in Nebraska, they played Texas, they played Texas Tech, they played a few other SEC schools that were ranked earlier this season. So they played in these big games. These other teams that are going to face Nebraska, such as Minnesota this weekend, they haven't played in those type of games against a really top-tier opponent. They don't know how to handle that adversity when a really good team goes ahead of you, or you're facing a really good pitcher that it just seems like you can't get anything going on. So Nebraska has the confidence no matter who they're playing. And so going up to Minnesota, I think it's, the same thing. It's just business as usual. Have fun with it, and, continue to build this confidence throughout this season. As you continue to, finish up Big Ten play, but also get into the Big Ten tournament. And then especially when regional comes around.
Well, Minnesota coming in, they're 6-9 in conference play. They've lost 1 game in a row. They're 14-27 on the season. You're looking down the stretch. Obviously, Wisconsin was 22-15. Now we thought maybe that's one of the toughest ones. Iowa's 22-20. They have them as well. And then Penn State, who's 26-15. So a little on the easier side by record, but you still got to go out there and play. And I, trust Nebraska softball to go out there and handle business against any of the teams I've just mentioned. But then you throw in Omaha there, who's had one of the, non-power 5s to power 4 schools who've been very strong as well. The biggest thing for Nebraska softball is this race for the top spot in the Big Ten regular season standings. You have Washington, who's 15-0 in conference play, who Nebraska beat in a non-conference game technically to start the year. You have Nebraska, obviously 14-1 in Big Ten play. And then you have UCLA 16-2 and Oregon in their 13-2. So it's a four-headed race there. So Indiana kind of on the back marker 10-5 unless something really blows up across the conference. But the winning streaks across these teams, you have Washington. They've won 15 straight. They have not lost since conference play started. You have Nebraska. They've won 7 straight. UCLA 6 straight and Oregon 8 straight. Obviously, one of these teams is going to win the Big Ten regular season title in softball. But more than likely, this is probably your semifinals in the Big Ten softball tournament in College Park, Maryland in a couple of weeks to start the month of May. I mean, look at all those 4 teams. We obviously, Nebraska's seen Wisconsin and seen UCLA. Oregon is respectable with their 32-9 record. I mean, that's like a mini regional right there with those 4 teams. And I'm very excited to see what that plays out. Because obviously, maybe, let's say Washington doesn't lose a game in conference play. You're kind of just hoping they slip up. So maybe you have a chance to get that Big Ten regular season crown. But the opportunity you had for all 4 of those teams to kind of duke it out right before regionals comes will be a blessing for all 4 of those teams.
Yeah, and I think going into the Big Ten tournament, I just looked at Washington's schedule. They got to take on Oregon this upcoming weekend down in Eugene, which is always a tough opponent. And then they take on UCLA, a team that Nebraska won 2 out of 3 against. So that could just be the difference is these next 2 series for Washington. Nebraska takes care of business. That could put them at the top of the Big Ten going into that tournament, which would be absolutely huge for them. And like you said, Nebraska, they defeated UCLA. They've already defeated Washington. They know that they, in their eyes, they probably see themselves as the best team in this conference, which is tremendous. And now it's just taking care of business down the home stretch.
We're going to throw it to break. On the other side, we'll wrap up the show. 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Husker Diamond Report, Nick Wyman alongside Trista Gomez. We'll be right back.
Spring is here, and it's time to wake up Judson. Judson Irrigation is eager and ready to get your sprinkler system up and running for the season. Judson's technicians will check for winter damage, adjust your sprinkler heads, and show you how to set your controller for effective sprinkling coverage. The Judson Irrigation team is here for you. Stay safe.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
This is Jordy Ball for Anderson Ford. For years, Anderson has relied on an exceptional customer experience. But just this once, they're going to rely on a really great pitch.
Right now, lease a 2026 Ford F-150 for $197 per month for 36 months.
Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1008753. $199 per month lease for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 10,250 due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 4/30/26.
Be sure to check out the all-new Fizzy Cuts. Fizzy Cuts helps to build and protect lean muscle while reducing body fat. Fizzy Cuts is ideal for men and women of all ages trying to look their best. Fizzy Cuts can only be found at Nutrition Authority. For more info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Seems like just the other day I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
At Schwezo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwezo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwezo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
93.7 The Ticket is Lincoln's home for Kansas City Royals baseball in 2026. Catch all the action as Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and a pitching rotation led by Cole Reagans try to lead the Royals back to the postseason. That's Kansas City Royals baseball all summer long. On the air in Lincoln at 93.7 The Ticket. Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back. Husker Diamond Report, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Allo Channel 961, truly appreciate you as we're here through the weeknight slate. Rich Lovett and Kayla Smith all in coming up next, followed by Beyond the Lanes with the Bowlers. First half, Don't Punt Hour, DeBorna Piersonell, and then myself, Late Night Lincoln. A stacked slate, some will say. I'm biased. I'm here for the long haul, but I'm biased. But Nebraska baseball, if you're out and about tomorrow, hopefully it's another day like it is today in the 80s out in the capital city. Nebraska baseball, after a 1-3 week with losses to Kansas and 2 to Oregon up in Eugene, Nebraska baseball returns home. They'll be playing at Hawksfield Haymarket Park tomorrow, 6:02 first pitch officially, taking on in-state rivals, the Creighton Blue Jays. Officially announced the probable pitching matchup with Price Bender with a 0-0 record of 5.09 ERA going for the Huskers. And then for the Blue Jays, Max McLennan with a 1-0 record. However, he has a bolstered 10.12 ERA, which that usually is not great, but it does have a win. So they'll go back at it between one another. Obviously, they met a couple of weeks ago up at Charles Schwab. First meeting, Nebraska picked up a 6-5 win over the Blue Jays to record the 11th consecutive victory at Charles Schwab for the Cornhuskers dating back to 2024. So Tristan, obviously, Creighton's coming out for revenge after how that game ended. A very close game that could have gone either way, but the wind obviously gave Mac Moyer a little bit of a challenge there in the outfield, but the ball was caught in the end to give the Huskers the win. Obviously, Creighton's going to be motivated to not only get a revenge win over Nebraska in their own place, but also Nebraska is motivated to get back in the win column after losing 3 of the last 4.
Yeah, I think going into this one, it's this is a game where I feel like Nebraska should just focus on that. You know, get rid of, even if you come off a big series win against Oregon or whatever, last 3 or 4 haven't gone your way, but this is the game against Creighton. This is the game that Husker fans, we all talk about. This is a game where Creighton wants to win because they want to prove that they aren't just the little brother. And especially after that kind of scare of a game that didn't need to be a scare of a game down in Omaha at Charles Schwab, where Nebraska seemed like they were in full control. And then Creighton found a way to, chip away, get it back, and had an opportunity there at the end. And Jay-Sean Unger, who's been just nails the entire season. He does a good job of getting the Skurs out of this one. But yeah, Creighton's going to be coming into this one with a little bit of vengeance. They're going to want to find a way to take a win away from the Skurs in this one. And I think for Nebraska, it's just, let's get back on the right track. Offensively, the offense should be feeling extremely confident. I would be. I mean, you look at the stats still, and yeah, Mac Moyer's still hitting over 400. Dylan Carey, 378. Rhett Stokes up to 365. Case Anderson, 362. 4 guys hitting over 350 is just unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. So here, I have a little trivia for you.
Okay.
I just quickly noted, looking at the notes. I don't know how far you've looked into the game notes. But Jay-Sean Unger, 7 saves are the most by Nebraska underclassmen since this player, who had 13 saves as a freshman. Do you know who that player is?
Is it Colby Gomez?
It is. So he's chasing a record held by Colby. Interesting enough. So did it ring a bell when I brought it up, the saves?
When you said underclassmen, because I mean, it's interesting because my brother it's funny because if you look at his record, he started maybe 1 or 2 games, maybe a few games. Maybe he was 0-3 his freshman year, but did not record a single win, but led the country in saves by a freshman with 13 and was a freshman All-American. And so, yeah, when you said underclassmen saves, I was like, oh,
it's probably him.
It's probably got to be
so
him.
He has 7, so he is halfway there to breaking that record. There's still time, so hopefully your brother's record, knock on wood, as an underclassman stays in check. But hey, if Jay-Sean Unger breaks, that's a not a heck of a pretty good player to have it. He's sophomore, 4-1, team high 7 saves and 13 relief appearances. The right-hander holds a 3.42 ERA, 23 strikeouts in 23 2/3 innings, limiting opponents to a 1.46 batting average. So, of course, he's getting up there in the saves because he is the closer for Nebraska. And obviously that record, if Nebraska continues to stack wins in Big Ten play, but also handle the midweek, I'm assuming that underclassmen saves record since 2019 as a freshman for Colby will probably more than likely get broken.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jay-Sean Unger is a great guy, especially another homegrown Husker, a guy, if he does, get to that point. And I think for him, it's just going to come down to the pitchers before him putting him in save opportunities, and then the offense, because it seems like there's been quite a few games that we've seen this year where the offense, the bats just go ballistic, and so there is no opportunity for a save. And so I think Nebraska, when it comes down to these close games, it is very you got to be very confident when you have a guy that you can bring out of the bullpen in late innings. And he's coming in the 8th as well. He's not just coming in the 9th for saves. He's coming in the 8th, giving him 2 really good innings in quite a few games. And so you just got to feel extremely confident when you have a guy that you can trust and rely on in these close games.
And this is obviously a rematch with Creighton. Creighton's going to be out for revenge because of what happened, a 6-5 loss at their place. As a former Portland Pilot, you're playing a bigger school. What's kind of the mindset after you lose a game to a Power 4 school? Because you've obviously played a fair share of Power 5 teams during your heyday. I act like you're like 35 years old here, but during your playing career, what was kind of the mindset after losing a close game to a let's say, like you said, you played Oregon before, losing a game to them in a close game and having to come back the next day to play and get an opportunity again to take down a Power 4 school?
Yeah, I mean, it was always frustrating too, and I'll be honest, it always seemed like if we lost to an Oregon State or we lost to an Oregon and we would play them later again in the season, it almost felt like maybe we just had a little bit more of a chip on our shoulder, but it almost seems like they lit off the gas just a little bit as they kind of came into that game and just said, oh, like, that's the little brother, that's Portland, where Oregon or Oregon State, like, these are games that we just win easily. And I think those are the opportunities where we kind of trapped some teams and took advantage of them not coming ready to play. And so for Nebraska, I think you already know this is a great team that you can beat, but just prove it even more going into this one.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting standpoint of this one is where, if Nebraska can get another win over Creighton, you win the series. Nebraska had a tough time with those teams and just stacking wins. I think, obviously what happened this week, you let that go behind you. You just keep winning games and you move on, because then after this Creighton game, you have another opportunity in front of you playing a team like USC, who is going to be another chance to pick up wins over a quality team down the stretch. So that is all the time we have. All in. I just saw Caleb Smith walk in. We'll get them in here and talk to them start our weeknight slate. Obviously Husker Diamond Report thrown together. Monday special the second time in a row. We're going to keep it going as the clock hits the 7 o'clock hour. Caleb Smith, Rich Lovett, All In coming up next. 91.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bye.